sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so bright, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much that.
Well, good morning, all my beautiful friends out there in YouTube land, and welcome back to the Hewitt Homestead. I'm Devin. You have joined us on our 11 acres of newly acquired land, and it's mostly raw, and we're hand carving a homestead out of it. And it's so good to have you guys here with us. Do you see them, baby? They got to be somewhere right around there.
Yeah, I heard you were the ones who down there.
Okay. Well, today is one of the rare days I've got off from work, so we're going to get some work done around here on the homestead. But before we do that, we got to get some maintenance done on the RV. Living in an RV is different. It's tight. You know, it's just delicate. There's a lot of things break real easy. Oh, look how beautiful you are today, honey. Your sister did a great job on your hair. Let me see that beautiful hair. Oh, fantastic. That's wonderful. You gonna help me out today? Yeah, awesome. So, we live on a well. It's kind of hard water. Kind of. That's an understatement. It's very hard water. But we've got this inline water filtration system. Just picked it up at Home Depot. It's got these replacement canisters that are supposed to be good for about 3 months. We get about 1 month out of them, and then we start tasting the minerals and the iron in the water again. And that's how hard it is. Although I gotta say, this last one we just put on there, I've been here living out here for a little over 4 months, and we've gone through about once a month. But this last one, it's probably been 5 or 6 weeks now. So maybe we're kind of flushing the well as we use it, and it's getting less and less mineral. I'm sure it won't ever go away completely, but that's not too bad. You know, if we get up to like 2 months out of one of these 3-month filters, I'd be very happy, because they are like $25, $30 a piece. But they do make a huge difference in the softness of the water and the taste and the smell of the water. It's got a little valve on top. You just turn it off so that the water coming into the filter doesn't come into the filter anymore. And then usually there's a pretty tight seal on here because of the pressure. Let the pressure off. Step back, baby. Don't you get wet. Okay, you almost fall. Let's see if we can do this. It's not too bad. It looks a lot better than our last couple of ones that we took out. So I would say overall, the quality of our well is improving with use, and that's very encouraging. Oh, baby, I love you. You're the best little baby girl ever. You know that? The sweetest child I've got. Don't tell the others, okay? We'll slide that down in there. Got a little post it sits on so you know it's centered. Tighten the hose back up. And turn the valve back on. See, it fills up. Okay. You know, we haven't had too many questions on our channel about RV living. You know, we don't really focus a lot on the RV aspect of living out here. It's not our favorite thing to talk about because it's not the highlight of our lives. You know what I'm saying? But in case you're wondering, in case you were considering possibly purchasing raw land, living in an RV while you develop that land, and you're kind of wondering how we do it. So when we purchased the land, it had already had a well dug on it. So we had that metal pipe coming up out of the ground. I purchased this little setup from Harbor Freight. It is a pressure tank and a pump and a pressure switch. It's got an electric control box. It's already hardwired. It's got an off and on switch, and it's got a pressure gauge right there. All you have to do is attach your PVC water in and your PVC valve water out. So we chose to put a silcock on here. We got an inline filter right here, which does pretty much absolutely nothing. And we got a Y splitter right there. This red garden hose is just for us to use around the yard for whatever we need water for. And the white line is the line that takes it all the way to our RV, going through, of course, midline filter for that whole house water filter right there. And then that goes into the back of our RV, so we have a constant flow of water straight from the well, and we're good there. We don't have to tote and carry jugs of water like some of my friends do who are living off grid in their RV. We are on the grid now. We originally wanted to stay off grid, but because it was so much easier and cheaper to go ahead and hook it up to the grid, I figured I'd go ahead and swallow my pride and just hook up to the grid. But in the future, we will be a self-sufficient homestead. We will have solar backup. We'll have solar panels and batteries and systems, all that good stuff, but we'll also be grid tied. And that way we can go either way. One of the other main tasks, super important, that you have to do quite regularly is drain your black tanks and your gray tanks. Now, they say, you know, don't leave your gray tank valve open or either of your tank valves open, because the gases from the septic tank will come back up and into your RV. And we definitely don't do that with the black tank. We keep the black tank valve closed so that it can fill up, so that when you do pull it, it's got more force to push out all of the solids. We dump our gray tank after that, and we normally leave the gray tank open. We have not had any foul smells coming back into our RV. Reason being, that gray tank with 6 people living in this RV, that great with 6 people living in an RV, that gray tank fills up fast. You'd have to dump it every day, sometimes twice a day, so we leave it open. So these are your valves. That's my gray. I'll actually go ahead and close that. Okay, so now throughout the day, my gray tank will be filling up. I pull my black valve, and away goes troubles down the drain. And all the bad stuff goes down the pipe and into the septic tank. I just let it sit open. I'll let it sit like that for a couple of hours so, just to make sure everything drains down and gets good and clear. And then I'll close that valve, and then later on, probably tonight or tomorrow morning on my way to work, I'll open the gray valve. There'll be lots of gray water to flush through and flush out all of the black water out of the pipe and make sure everything's good and clean. All right. And other than that, since we are on the grid, we don't have to worry about the electrical side of things so much. Every once in a while, I got to just swap over my propane tanks. Now, living in Florida, we don't use a lot of propane, but we have an electric heater on board and a propane heater. And the refrigerator uses propane. It doesn't have to use propane. The refrigerator can work off of the shore power, but we had a little issue with ours when we first got it, and we got a bum refrigerator basically. But it does work off the propane, doesn't work off the shore power. We don't know why, but we're living in this sucker, and it's really hard to get it back to the shop, even though it's under warranty. And we will get it fixed before the warranty expires. But we've just had a heck of a first few couple of months living out here on the land, getting things, you know, done and getting settled in. Probably here in the next month or two, we're going to try to get this bad boy taken back to the shop, get that refrigerator fixed. But this is your propane setup. You've got a little indicator here. It's kind of hard to see. Green means you're good. and it's pointing this direction, so I'm using this tank. When this tank runs out and that switches to red, I just flip the valve over this way, and then we start running off of this tank. And when that one's empty, I got my backups right here. Currently we're getting about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, off of a tank, and that's with cooking and the refrigerator and the occasional usage of the gas heater. Now, we did have a cold week back in January where we had 30-degree temperatures at night for almost an entire week, and we did burn through a whole tank in about a week during that time. But other than that, it's not too bad, guys. Not too bad at all. So that's kind of what it's like living in the RV on grid. As far as your maintenance and your upkeep, it's not too bad at all. It does go to that next level of difficulty if you're trying to live in an RV off grid, boondocking as they call it, where you're toting your water, you're charging your batteries with solar panels and only using AC power and stuff like that.